Ever since my little brother Benjamin was found and brought back into the family, things have changed drastically. It's like I've been gradually pushed aside, as if my existence was now just a painful reminder of everything he missed out on. To make up for the years he was gone, my father gave him my place, handed him the reins to the project I had poured my heart and soul into for years. And when it all went downhill, my sister Megan pointed the finger at me, giving false testimony. To protect him, he was alone, they all said. He needs extra care. Even my wife, Wendy, started treating him like he was the one who needed protecting. She kept saying, as his sister-in-law, it's my duty to look after him. It all came to a head when I confronted Benjamin. I was angry, furious, really, but instead of owning up to his mistakes, he pushed me down the stairs. I broke my leg. I thought that finally, someone in the family would see how far things had gone. But when I looked to my mother, hoping for fairness, all she said was, "Don't be petty." He panicked. "You were being aggressive too. Let's just move on." Even my daughter. She said she wished Benjamin was her real father. Lying there in that hospital bed, full of pain and bitterness, something inside me snapped, or maybe finally woke up. I realized I wasn't the main character in this story. I was just a stepping stone, a side character in a story meant to glorify Benjamin. My achievements? My hard work? All part of his grand path to success. So I made a choice. I gave up, handed over my wife, my daughter, even my right to inherit the company. I left the country. They thought I was broken, humiliated, done for, but I didn't disappear. I rebuilt myself, quietly, from scratch, and when the time was right, I came back, stronger, smarter, and ready to take back what should have been mine. When I returned, nothing had changed. My family still acted like I was the problem. My mother told me, sweetly, "Benjamin didn't mean to hurt you. You were both at fault, and it was just a scratch anyway. Let's just put it behind us." She looked at me like she expected me to nod along, to be the obedient son who never pushed back. I forced a smile. "Okay," I said quietly. She seemed relieved. "I know it hasn't been easy for you," she added. "When you're discharged, I'll have Auntie Wang cook something good for you." Megan chimed in then, as if she was being generous. "I'll help you with the project. You don't have to take the blame for Benjamin anymore. Sound fair?" I didn't say much, just nodded. What was the point of arguing with someone who knew the truth but still chose to twist it? I remembered handing Benjamin everything, documents clearly marked, page numbers, folders. He just didn't bother reading them. And when the project collapsed, they pinned it on me. My father jumped in next. "You should rest. Once you're better, come back to the company and help Benjamin. He's still learning. Once he's found his footing, you can have your position back." I stared at him for a moment, remembering how, when I joined the company, he made me start from the very bottom. 8 long years of grinding, proving myself. But Benjamin, with only an associate's degree, walked in and was handed everything. So I smiled and said, "No need. Once I'm discharged, I'll finish the handover and resign." He frowned. "Sincere, what's gotten into you? Are you trying to stir things up?" "I'm just tired," I replied calmly. "I want to resign." That's when Benjamin finally spoke up, pretending to be remorseful. "Big brother, I know I'm not qualified. You don't have to resign. I should be the one leaving. And about pushing you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I didn't want to hurt you." His face showed guilt, but his eyes? Cold, calculating. Only I saw it. Everyone else bought into his act. My father scolded me. "Is this how you treat your younger brother after all I taught you?" My mother added softly, "He was stolen from us as a baby. He's suffered. Of course, we're trying to make up for that now. Why are you making this harder than it has to be?" Then Megan, cold and sharp, cut in. "He's just being selfish as usual. Everything always has to be about him." I bit back my frustration. I thought of the way we used to laugh together, all those warm memories. But they didn't move me anymore. Maybe that was part of this awakening, finally seeing things for what they were, and not what I hoped they'd be. "You're right," I said quietly. "You're all right, but I'm tired now. Can I rest?" Megan looked like she wanted to say more, but Dad interrupted. "Let's give him some space. We'll talk again when you're discharged." Mom gave me a final look. "I'll visit again soon." Then Benjamin turned to the woman beside me, my wife, and said, "Sister-in-law, take good care of him. And Lily, be a good girl, okay? Don't upset your father." Megan added, "You've been through a lot, sister-in-law." She patted her arm like they were comrades in this strange little alliance. I looked up. Wendy and Lily were both silent, staring at me like I was a stranger. Disappointed, cold, and that's when it really hit me. In all this mess, I had forgotten they had been in the room the entire time, watching, listening, and saying nothing. Victoria looked at me for a moment, then let out a sigh. You used to be so mature and dependable. How did you become so unreasonable? She paused, then said, Benjamin's your little brother. He went through so much. Shouldn't you be the one looking out for him, instead of always being at odds with him? I nodded slightly. You're right, I said. Then I'll leave him to your care. I'm tired. I need some rest. Her face twisted with frustration, and she stomped her foot. What do you take me for? How many times do I have to tell you I'm only taking care of him because he's your brother? Can't you stop thinking so dirty? I didn't respond. I was too exhausted to remind her that just 6 months ago, she still called him your brother. Now it was simply Benjamin. Then, a small voice piped up. Dad, you're so petty with your own little brother. You're cringe. Lily, just 7 years old, stood there with her arms crossed, a little pout on her face, eyes full of disapproval. I used to find her precociousness adorable. She was so smart for her age. But since Benjamin came back, that precociousness had turned into little barbs always aimed at me. She thought I was too harsh, too cold. Meanwhile, Benjamin always brought her toys. Little treats won her over with ease. So she hated that I kept criticizing her cool Uncle Benjamin, just like her mother. I let out a quiet laugh. It's okay. Just bear with me a bit longer, I said softly. Soon, you'll be free. I closed my eyes. Just before the world faded, I caught a flicker of unease in Lily's expression. What kind of thing is that to say to a child? Victoria scolded her. Her voice was tight, anxious. I didn't open my eyes to look at her, but I heard it. Something was off. What were these two really thinking? After a moment, Victoria said, You rest. Calm down. I'll take Lily home first. They hadn't been gone a minute when I heard Lily's voice right outside the door. Mom, if only Uncle Benjamin had been found earlier. Then he could have married you, and he'd be my dad instead. Victoria's reply was calm, but there was a tremor under her words. Don't talk nonsense. And then, silence. Their footsteps faded away. Strangely, it didn't hurt anymore. I didn't feel that sharp, twisting pain in my chest like I used to. I felt nothing. And before long, I drifted off to sleep. In my dreams, I saw my past. My family, my sister, my parents. We were happy once. Really happy. I remembered when Carter Group was on the brink of collapse and there was only enough money for one of us to study abroad. Megan gave up her own dreams so I could go. Back then, my parents never let me feel the burden. They didn't cut my allowance, didn't tell me how bad things were. They just worried I wasn't eating well. Then I dreamed of Victoria. We were in college together, fell for each other in the same club. She once told me she knew the gap between our family backgrounds, but she wanted to work hard and prove herself to be worthy of me. She never took a dime from me. She split rent, earned scholarships. She was sincere. I believed that. Once, her friend told her that a woman's youth is priceless, that she had every right to take from a man. Victoria cut ties with her for saying that. My family saw how much we loved each other and supported us. Later, we got married and had Lily. I remembered when I fell down the stairs saving Lily and ended up in a coma for 3 days. The doctor said I was close to dying. When I finally woke up, Victoria was by my bedside sobbing, saying she couldn't live without me. Then the dream shifted again. Lily was just 3 when she fell seriously ill. Victoria was away, and I had a massive project to oversee. I worked all day and cared for Lily at night, sleeping just 10 hours in a week. After she got better, I collapsed from exhaustion. Little Lily, with tears in her eyes, told me she wanted to grow up fast so she could take care of me. There were so many moments that made me think maybe I really had a perfect life. Maybe I should have been happy, but everything changed when Ethan Benjamin came into the picture. When I woke up, those memories felt distant, like someone else's life. I stayed in the hospital for 2 more days, and when everything checked out, I was discharged. Nobody came to pick me up. Not my parents. Not my wife. While I waited for a cab, I checked my phone and saw a post from Ethan. Thank you to Mom, Dad, Sis, sister-in-law, and my little niece for coming early to celebrate my birthday. I smiled bitterly and swiped the post away. Of course, That's where they all were, celebrating him. They had once given me warmth and love, and that's why I kept making room for Ethan, over and over. But now I was done. I still had a future. I wasn't going to drown in this toxic, muddy mess anymore. When I got home, I started packing. I didn't feel sad, just irritated, not because of them, but because packing up years of your life is a pain. There was just so much stuff. I kept at it until around p.m. when the door finally opened. Victoria stepped in, a bit out of breath. "Honey, I'm so sorry," she said quickly. "Today was Ethan's birthday. I completely forgot you were being discharged. I only found out when I took Lily to the hospital." Then her tone shifted sharp, accusatory. "You could have told us. Lily and I made a wasted trip. Are you really getting upset over something this small?" I shook my head. "No, I was just busy. I forgot to text you." She frowned. "Busy with what? You just got out of the hospital. Packing," I said simply. She blinked. "Packing," then remembered. "Oh, right. Well, Lily and I haven't eaten yet. We rushed to get you." Lily walked up to me, a little sheepish. "I want shrimp noodles." It was her way of making peace. Whenever we argued, she'd always come to me later with a food request, her little olive branch, and I'd smile and head to the kitchen every time. I used to be the vice president of a major corporation, responsible for hundreds of employees. Yet somehow, I ended up learning to cook, even for this mother and daughter. I gave up so much for them. And in the end, what did I get? Betrayed, abandoned, left to rot. I'm not even sure what I was trying to prove anymore. Still, after hours of packing, I was hungry. So I went into the kitchen. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw both Victoria and Lily visibly exhale in relief. 10 minutes later, I came out with a bowl of noodles and set it on the table. Victoria looked confused. "Just one bowl?" Lily stared at it too. "You added chili and chicken drumsticks." Victoria frowned. "How could you forget? Lily doesn't eat spicy food or chicken." I took a calm sip of the soup and smiled. "I know, but I do. I was hungry. There's nothing wrong with feeding myself, is there?" Their faces darkened immediately. Lily stiffened and muttered, "Then, I don't want it." Victoria grabbed her bag and snapped, "I'll take her out to eat." I didn't respond. I just listened as they slammed the door behind them. Then, in the quiet that followed, I finished the bowl of noodles peacefully. Happily, even afterward, I kept packing. Almost done. Then I made the call to a lawyer. I couldn't use the company's legal department. I knew how fast news would spread if I did. I needed it kept quiet. I needed control. Victoria and Lily didn't come home that night. I didn't care. They'd be fine. She had her mother and her Benjamin. The next day, I met the lawyer. During the discussion, my phone buzzed over and over. I glanced down. Calls from my so-called family. I muted it. Later that evening, out of curiosity, I returned one call. As soon as it connected, my mother's anxious voice came through. "Sincere, we were wrong, okay? We forgot to pick you up from the hospital. It was Ethan's birthday. We got distracted. But you can't just ignore your wife and child like this. I wouldn't have known you weren't feeding them if they hadn't gone to Ethan." I was stunned. The nanny had the day off. No one else was home. They had money. They could have eaten out. She sighed. "Don't be so cold. Victoria's your wife. Ethan feels guilty about everything, you know. Your father and Megan don't want to see him unhappy." I cut in. "And neither do you, right?" My mother hesitated. "You and Ethan are both my sons. I care about you both. So what exactly do you want me to do?" I asked, keeping my tone even. "Apologize. Talk to them. Ease things with Ethan. Why should a family tear itself apart over who's right and who's wrong?" I laughed bitterly. "Sure, I'm just a little busy right now. I'll stop by in a few days. You child," she started. I hung up. I didn't need to hear more. All I knew was I had to speed up the divorce. The sooner I cut ties, the better. When I got home, Victoria and Lily were finally back. Their faces were stiff and unreadable. Victoria didn't waste time. "Lily and I didn't come home last night, and you didn't even care? Were you out fooling around?" I didn't bother defending myself. "You were with her. I figured you'd take care of her. You've always said she's scared of me. Too strict, right? You wanted me to give her more space." I gave her space. That silenced them. Maybe they remembered the night they hadn't come home. Victoria's phone had been off. I was panicking, calling everyone, nearly calling the police. Then I saw Benjamin's post photos from the new amusement park. Victoria and Lily smiling, laughing, having the time of their lives with him. People thought they were a family. Someone even offered to take their picture. Benjamin posted one of them with the caption, "They thought we were a family of 3. Lol. He thought it was funny. He posted it to show me I had no place to protest. That night past PM, when they finally came home, I confronted them. Victoria didn't even flinch. Lily needs space. You don't have to be so controlling. I'm her mother. I'll take care of her." Lily didn't say anything. Her silence cut deeper than words. I forced a smile. "Glad you had fun. I already ate. If you're hungry, order takeout. The housekeeper won't be back until tomorrow." Then Lily piped up nervously, "There's a family movie coming out next month. Maybe we can go together?" Next month. If everything went smoothly, Victoria and I would have signed the divorce papers by then. I looked at Lily and said gently, "I'm busy. Why don't you ask Uncle Benjamin? He'd love to go." Lily flinched. "You're right. I will ask him," she said stubbornly. Then she ran to her room and slammed the door. That made 2 of them. Victoria glared at me. "Are you done, Sincere?" She's a child. She was trying to make peace. "Why do you have to be so cold?" Her tone shifted. Softer, pleading. "Sincere, I know you're angry, but we can change. Lily can change. Don't be like this." If she'd said that before I ended up in the hospital, maybe I would have let it go. I'd told myself over and over, they're my wife, my child. I should try harder, but it was too late. Over the last 3 years, I tried so many times to talk to Victoria honestly, openly. Every time, she'd twist the conversation, accuse me of not owning up to my mistakes, of being too controlling. She'd always make it my fault. And Lily, she was even more direct. "You should learn to talk like Uncle Benjamin," she'd say. "You're too strict." I did learn. I changed, but it still wasn't enough. Monday came. I submitted my resignation to Megan and started preparing the handover. Within minutes, she called me into her office. She looked pissed. "What are you pulling now?" "I'm resigning," I said calmly. "What else would I be doing?" She laughed bitterly, like I'd told a joke. "How old are you, Sincere? Still threatening people with resignations like a kid?" Then her tone shifted, helpless, almost pleading. "I know I was wrong before. I'm sorry, but why can't you just get along with Benjamin? He's not adopted. He's our real brother, our blood." I had tried. I wanted to, but from the moment Benjamin walked through our door, I saw it. That look in his eyes, jealousy, malice. He didn't want a brother. He wanted everything I had, and I was just tired. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to prove myself to people who had already decided I didn't matter. Of course, Megan wouldn't believe me. So I didn't say a word. I just looked at her. Megan finally realized I wasn't joking. Her expression shifted first with surprise, then something like amusement. She crossed her arms and said coldly, "Fine. Then you can tell Dad about your resignation yourself." I nodded. "I will, but the paperwork still needs to be finalized here. You should also find someone to take over my responsibilities, Benjamin or whoever. I'm definitely leaving in a month." She bit her lip. "Then go." I turned to leave, but before I reached the door, her voice stopped me. "Wait, are you resigning just to get Victoria back? If that's it, I can talk to her for you." I cut her off. "I'm doing this for myself, not for anyone else. I'm done here." That evening, after work, I got a call from my father. He invited me to dinner on Saturday, said Victoria and Lily would be there too. Right after, my lawyer called to let me know the divorce papers had been drafted and sent to my email. I rushed home to read them, and honestly, I was impressed. Efficient, clean, well done. A little later, the front door opened. Victoria and Lily walked in. It was about an hour later than usual. I instinctively checked social media. Nothing from Benjamin. I wasn't sure if he'd blocked me or just hadn't posted. Either way, with the commute time from Lily's school, there probably wasn't time for a dinner rendezvous. Victoria looked exhausted. "I picked up Lily today," she said. "Her teacher told me she's been distracted in class, throwing tantrums and arguing with classmates." She looked at me sharply. "Whatever issues you have, set them aside. Lily is your daughter, and she needs her father." I sighed. Every time I tried to discipline Lily, she'd run to Victoria, crying like I was the villain. And Victoria, she'd scold me, telling me I was too harsh, that kids needed understanding, not punishment. Maybe she was right, but I had to ask myself, did Lily really need me now? I walked over and crouched down beside Lily. Hey, is something bothering you? I asked softly. You can tell me. If there's something I can do, I will. Victoria was right about one thing. Lily was still my daughter, and I had to be here for her. No matter how rocky things were with her mother. Lily hesitated for a moment, then said, I just hope Daddy will always be my daddy. I touched her hair gently. As long as you still want me, I'll always be your daddy. Then I looked at Victoria. Her expression was cold. Of course she still wants you, she said. Why are you even saying something like that? This wasn't how it was supposed to go. According to the story I remembered after awakening, Saturday's dinner was meant to be a disaster. I'd lose my temper at how close Victoria and Lily were with Benjamin. Victoria would be disappointed beyond words. Lily would say she didn't want a bad man like me as her father. It would all unravel. But now, Lily still tugged at my heart. Maybe this was my last chance. Saturday came. We arrived at the old family home right on time. As soon as the door opened, Benjamin greeted us first, all smiles and enthusiasm. Big brother, so glad you came. His sincerity was almost believable. No wonder people bought into his act. Dad asked me to, I said calmly. Of course I came. Dad coughed awkwardly. Come on now, it's just a family dinner. Let's not make it awkward. At the table, Mom carefully dished food into Benjamin's bowl first, then quickly did the same for me. Father cleared his throat and said, by the way, Sincere, don't talk about resigning anymore. I'll give you a long break, and when you're ready, you can come back as Deputy General Manager. Benjamin, I'll set up a new company for you to gain experience. Later, you can come join the head office. Benjamin smiled. I'm fine with that. I'll listen to Dad. But I noticed the way he clenched his chopsticks like he wanted to snap them in half. Megan looked at me with a teasing smile. Happy now, young master? I smiled back politely. Benjamin wasn't going to take this passively. He had something planned, for sure. After dinner, Mom pulled me aside to talk. She was warm, caring like how she used to be before Benjamin came back. But no matter how kind she acted, something still felt off. Later, I passed by the garden and heard voices. Lily was looking down, avoiding Benjamin's gaze. I'm sorry, Uncle, she said. I've decided to go to the movie with Daddy today, but I'll watch another one with you later, okay? Benjamin looked pale, but smiled gently. You silly girl, you don't need to apologize. Of course you should see the movie with your dad. Victoria's eyes were filled with warmth. She said softly, if Sincere had even half of your kindness. Benjamin gave a mock humble reply. Don't say that. Brother's just like that because he cares too much. Sometimes I wonder, if I hadn't come back, maybe things would have been easier for everyone. Don't say that, Victoria interrupted. None of us think that way. Lily loves you too. Lily nodded. Uncle, I did wish you were my dad, but Mommy said Daddy has done a lot for me, and I don't want to make him sad. Just then, Benjamin noticed me standing behind them out of Victoria and Lily's line of sight. He smirked, gave me a mocking loser sign, and then put on an innocent face and called out loudly, Brother. Victoria and Lily spun around in shock. I said nothing. I didn't need to. Benjamin rushed to me and grabbed my hand. Please, brother, let me explain. I slowly pulled my hand away. Victoria said quietly, he didn't mean anything by it. Please don't overreact. I hadn't even reacted yet, still nervous. Lily stepped in front of Benjamin like she was afraid I might hurt him. Benjamin turned to them. Could you give us a moment? I'd like to talk to my brother in private. Reluctantly, they left, casting worried glances behind them. Not at me, at Benjamin. Once we were alone, Benjamin dropped the act. It hurts, doesn't it? He said, voice dripping with scorn. Seeing the people you love care only about me? I frowned. Why do you hate me so much? His expression twisted. Because I'm not okay with it, he snapped. We're both sons of the Miller family. But you've lived like royalty for 20 years, while I was thrown away like garbage. His voice rose. You think I'm some idiot just because I only have a college diploma? You have no idea what I went through, how that wonderful couple who raised me tormented me every day. I survived hell while you played the role of golden boy. When I was younger, I did all the housework at home. There was never any time for me to study. The only reason I even made it to college was because that family, the one that took me in, died in an accident while I was still in high school. It finally set me free. That's why I hate you. I will take away everything and everyone you care about." His voice was calm, but the malice in his eyes was unmistakable. "Right now, Mom, Dad, your sister, even your wife and daughter still care about you," he said coldly. "But not for long. Soon, they'll all despise you. Just wait." I looked at him calmly and said, "I thought maybe you missed Mom and Dad too much. Or maybe you were even in love with my wife. I thought it was jealousy." He laughed like I'd told a bad joke. "Those people, they're just tools. All of them. I don't love anyone. I just want to ruin you, one piece at a time. I want you to watch as your parents, your sister, your wife, and even your daughter turn their backs on you." Then he walked off triumphant. But I didn't feel angry or uneasy, just curious. What exactly was he going to do? 3 days later, I found out. That morning, I had just woken up when Victoria stormed into my bedroom. Ever since I was discharged from the hospital, we had been sleeping in separate rooms. But I'd never seen her like this, her eyes bloodshot, her face twisted with rage. "Benjamin tried to kill himself," she screamed. "Are you happy now?" I didn't even respond. I just rushed straight to the hospital. When I arrived, I saw my parents and Megan gathered at Benjamin's bedside. Everyone's eyes were red. Lily ran up to me crying, "Uncle, what happened? Don't scare me." My mother turned to me. She had always been the gentler one, but now her face was full of fury. "What did you say to Benjamin?" she snapped. "He swallowed an entire bottle of sleeping pills." My father's voice was ice. "You're done. From today, you have nothing to do with the Sincere family. Your resignation is approved. I won't press you for the money we spent raising you, but don't expect a penny from me. Everything will go to your sister and Benjamin," Megan added sharply, "and don't even think about using the Sincere family name to do business. If you do, I'll make sure you regret it." I just nodded. "Understood. But just so we're clear, the money I earned for the company over the years far exceeds what you ever spent on me. I've been financially independent for a while now, thanks to private investments." My mother started crying again. "Why have you become like this? Do you know Benjamin left a note before he lost consciousness? He said he regretted coming back, that he never wanted to take anything from you, that he was sorry. Why can't you forgive your own brother?" I stayed silent, thinking Benjamin must be smiling smugly in his head. I turned to leave. That's when Victoria called after me, voice trembling. "Wait, I can't live with a man like you anymore. I'll be contacting a lawyer about a divorce." Lily wiped her tears and yelled, "Yeah, I don't want someone like you to be my dad. You're a terrible person." That sentence hit harder than the rest. She turned away and threw herself onto Benjamin, sobbing, "Uncle, I'm sorry. I'll only listen to you from now on. Let's watch that movie together, okay? Please wake up." I turned to Victoria. "No need to wait. I already have the divorce papers. I pulled them out. You can look them over and sign when you're ready." Victoria froze. "What? You already had them ready?" I smiled faintly. "I drafted them 2 days after I left the hospital." Her chest rose and fell as she tried to catch her breath. "Sincere, how could you?" Megan couldn't take my calm tone anymore. She stormed over and grabbed my hand. "You're going to apologize to Benjamin right now. Don't stop until he wakes up, or you'll never be my brother again." I pulled my hand away and frowned. "Miss Sincere, my left hand was seriously injured. Please don't be so rough." Everyone fell silent. They all remembered that injury when I risked my life to protect them from a rival company. I could never fully use that hand again. Megan stepped back, face pale. "If that's all, I'll leave now," I said quietly. I think someone called after me, but I didn't turn back. The next day, Victoria and I went to the courthouse. When she brought Lily home the night before, I was waiting with the papers. She had no choice but to follow through. Once the mandatory cooling-off period ended, we met again at City Hall. I signed first. Her hand trembled. Then suddenly, she threw the pen down. "Sincere, how can you be so heartless? You're even abandoning your own daughter?" People around us stared. She was trying to play the victim, but we hadn't spoken once during that entire month. I knew the truth. Benjamin woke up 2 days after I left. He kept texting me bragging that Victoria was taking care of him every day, that Lily was visiting him often. I reminded Victoria about the divorce just before the deadline. She sent me an angry voice message, but she still showed up. Back at City Hall, I looked her in the eye and said, "Isn't this what you wanted? To be with my little brother?" Her face went pale. She hadn't expected me to be so direct. She quickly signed. We picked up the divorce certificate. As we left, I smiled. Goodbye, Victoria. Goodbye, forever. 5 years later I returned home with Wendy, my wife, and our son, Charles. Charles was riding on my back. Daddy, are you tired? He asked sweetly. I can walk. Wendy smiled. Our son's worried about you. Let me carry him for a bit. He wasn't heavy, but I handed him over anyway, enjoying the moment. Then, I heard a voice. Daddy, I turned. It was Victoria, standing there with Lily. Lily had grown so much. Victoria looked worn, much older than before. Her voice trembled. You're back. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. Then she noticed Wendy beside me. Her eyes narrowed. Who is she? She asked, trying to keep calm, but the fire in her voice gave her away. I answered gently, This is my wife. And our son. You're married. And you have a child? Charles tilted his head in confusion. Daddy, who are they? He asked. Before I could answer, Lily stormed forward like an angry little lion. He's my daddy, not yours, she shouted. She charged at me, and I instinctively stepped in front of Sincere to shield her. I gently pushed Lily back. She froze in place, her little fists trembling, and tears welled up in her eyes. Daddy, you don't want me anymore? She sobbed. I was wrong. I shouldn't have believed that bad man. Please come back. I only want you to be my daddy. I won't trust anyone else again. Victoria's eyes reddened. Why didn't you show us the recording sooner? She choked out. If I had seen it earlier, I would never have married that bastard Benjamin. Just then, a black Cullinan pulled up. The driver rushed over and respectfully said, Madam, I'm sorry for the delay. I nodded, motioning for Wendy to take Charles into the car. As she passed by me, she leaned close and whispered, Come back soon, or I'll get jealous. I glanced sideways at her and muttered, Relax. My taste isn't bad enough to go back to an ex. Once they were inside, I turned to Victoria with a half smile. Locking you and Benjamin together? That was intentional. How else could I pay you back for the pain I went through? Victoria's face went pale. I'm sorry, she murmured. I knew you wouldn't forgive me. Or Lily, but I still held on to a sliver of hope. Lily was still crying, tears streaming down her cheeks. Daddy, please. I know I messed up. Just one more chance. Please. I crouched down and met her eyes. That last chance? It was used up 5 years ago. Lily, let's just say, our fate as father and daughter was never meant to last. Stop holding on to what can't be changed. Look forward. She tried to say something else, but I didn't let her. I turned and got into the car. A month after I left, Victoria married Benjamin. Around the same time, my father officially named Benjamin vice president of the company. I stayed quiet, watching from a distance. Once Benjamin had his footing in the company and Victoria became pregnant, I sent a recording to my entire family and to Victoria. It was a conversation between Benjamin and me, recorded in the old garden of the mansion. After that, I didn't check in. Not until today, when I got into the car. Some of my domestic branch staff were waiting inside with Wendy and me. They updated me on everything that had happened with my family, Victoria, and Lily over the years. To put it simply, things went downhill fast. Victoria completely broke down when she heard the recording. Benjamin begged her to stay, but she insisted on divorcing him even while pregnant. During one of their arguments, she had an abortion. Benjamin, in his rage and panic, ended up falling down the stairs. He broke his leg, and Victoria refused to call for help. By the time someone got him to the hospital, it was too late. His leg was permanently damaged. After hearing the recording, my family turned on him too. My mother avoided him. My father mocked him. A cripple like you isn't worthy of inheriting the Sincere family's business. Even Megan kicked him out of the house. With nowhere left to go and clinging to what little power he had left, Benjamin refused to divorce Victoria. But she'd already moved out with Lily and grown ice cold toward him. Bitter and angry, Benjamin decided to sell the company's secrets he'd secretly collected over the years. Thanks to that betrayal, both the Sincere and Victoria families suffered devastating losses. Key projects failed. Cash flow dried up. They were forced to sell assets and downsize, barely keeping afloat. Eventually, the families worked together to have Benjamin committed to a sanatorium. Megan spared him an asylum for now. But with his mind crumbling, it's probably just a matter of time. Hearing all this, I couldn't help but laugh. I should thank Benjamin, I said. If not for him, our company wouldn't have gained this advantage. Wendy and I had come back to finalize the acquisition of both families' remaining assets. She laughed and wrapped her arms around me. And it's all thanks to you. You were the one who came up with the plan to expose their secrets. Then her smile faded a bit. About today, she said, hesitating. Your daughter was crying so hard, begging you. You didn't soften, did you? You can't. I sighed and rubbed my forehead. Wendy, will you ever stop? I glanced at Charles, sleeping peacefully in his car seat. My expression softened. Charles is my only child. Wendy smirked. That's more like it. I turned to her. Then let's have another. Maybe even a few more. Before I could finish, she pinched me. Idiot. During our time back home, my parents and Megan came to see me. I avoided them at first, but eventually I had no choice. They'd aged. My father's hair was more gray than black. My mother's eyes were heavy with regret. Even Megan had streaks of silver. They apologized, admitted they'd been blinded by greed, said they never imagined Benjamin would be so ruthless, that the inheritance was still mine if I wanted it. I smiled politely. I came today just to say goodbye. Our ties were severed 5 years ago. Please don't come looking for me again. If you do, I can't guarantee how much the Sincere family's assets will be worth when they sell. Then I turned and walked away. Behind me, I heard their sighs of regret. It felt like something from another life. After that, they kept their distance. I never saw Victoria or Lily again, not until the day Wendy, Charles, and I were flying back to the U.S.T. the airport. Our bodyguard whispered to me, "There are 4 adults and 1 child watching you from behind the glass." Wendy had hired extra protection, just in case they tried anything. Charles looked up at me, a little nervous. Daddy, are those the people who said they were your family? I smiled, pinched his cheek gently. They're just strangers now, son. As we passed through the gate, my phone buzzed. A flood of messages from unknown numbers. I glanced at a few. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I'll wait for you forever. I didn't read the rest. I just deleted them. People who abandoned me don't get to be part of my future, and thankfully, I had found the ones who truly loved me. I looked at Wendy and Charles. They were all I needed.